It's your man DJ Caveman.
And DJ Andem.
We back for another Saturday conversation right here inside the Andem Street Studios. Shout out to Will, always holding it down for us.
Oh, yes.
He was just here, but he left. Yeah, we got a good show today, man. We got the gentleman from RZW Wrestling in the building with us today. We're going to get into that in a little bit. First, hell, the week was all right, man. You know, almost to a 300 game.
Yeah, what happened? You got distracted?
Nah, I just tugged it. Man. I had 9 in a row, and I tugged it a little bit.
Wait, hold on. I'm not a bowler, so that term tugging it just doesn't sound that kosher.
So what happened was while I was throwing the ball, I grabbed my dick, right, and then that threw me off. No, that's not really what happened.
Yeah, you tugged it.
Basically, when you tug it, like I was a little bit too inside, so it moved across the front of the pins instead of where in the pocket where it should have hit, and I left the 10, and I missed the 10.
Oh, so you left the 10 hanging.
I left the 10 hanging, so I only ended up with 267. But
well, I mean, as long as you don't miss a 5-pin, you should be pretty all right.
Right.
If you miss the 5-pin, you're just the worst bowler on the game.
I don't leave a 5-pin.
Well, if you play in the league for like
I beg to
5
differ.
years,
You left it once or twice when we bowled together.
I don't even know what you're talking about. That was early on.
Oh wait, speaking of which, just so y'all know that who's in the background here, we got the dudes from RZW. We got Zach, we have John, we have Ryan, and we have Shay hanging out here. So just so give y'all context on some of the voices.
You're gonna hear some voices. Those are the RZW folks. We're gonna get with them.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be chiming in as always, because whenever you're a guest on the Saturday conversation, you're also a co-host. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So if you have things that you want to talk about on the show, and they're eventful or they pique our interest, then we'll bring you in and
keep it rolling.
Yeah, I'm a little stuffed up, so don't mind the snuffleupaguses happening from time to time. But my week was good, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was fairly.
You tugged your 300 game.
Yeah, it was fairly low key. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. What about you, man?
Nah, just cooling, just working, because the dude that I work with for my day job, he has to use up his vacation time, so it's just me doing all the deliveries this week. So, just that, but all that shit aside, it's work.
Do they make you dress like the UPS man and shit?
Nah, they don't do none of that
like,
shit.
With the shorts and the high socks?
Nah, but they have this one dude from FedEx, and I don't understand why he always have short pants on. I'm like, yo, dude, man,
it's for the ladies, man.
Right, it's middle of winter. My dad does the same stuff.
I don't understand that shit.
He works outside in the yard, and he'll literally go outside in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like, I don't get you.
Well, see, if you're working and you're doing something, I can see because you're generating
that's
some
true.
type of heat. But,
he's working.
Shit is cold though.
He's moving packages, and he got to look slick for the ladies. Everybody in the office love when the delivery dude shows up.
But there ain't no ladies where he's delivering to our department, so it's like, yo, dude, put on some pants when you come in. Put on them snap-on pants, and then when you go to
because he got to walk through.
Tear away them pants.
He
thinks Pornhub's going to start up. He thinks he's just I'm going to show up in short pants. Hope somebody really nice opens that door.
Plus, you got to think of all the single moms ordering crap off of Amazon. So they're sitting in the window waiting for the UPS man to show up.
Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
With their little teddy on. Oh, I wasn't expecting you. Bitch, you was following the package the whole night. You 7 stops away. Oh, I could do my makeup. Come on now.
You've been following it since the moment you placed that order. Yeah. What are you talking about?
All right, Julio touched my package. All right, who else is going to touch my package?
Damn it, Julio.
Why is it late? It wasn't his only stop, so he had to make sure for his next stop he was ready. He didn't have time to be trying to print.
But this is why you got to put on the tearaway pants. So that way, all right,
I'm going
into an office full of straight dudes. So let me.
How's he know there's straight dudes in the office? How you know this? How you know the FedEx dude is not gay?
He's been to the office more than once because we have regular people that come.
So he got to walk past all the other desks too. He's not worried about you. He's not there for you. He's there for the ride all the way to the office with the other.
He's got to entertain everybody with them shorts, bro.
Yeah, men and women. He doesn't discriminate.
When he was out there,
nope.
But you also got to think, in them UPS application, do you think they have a calf check where it's you got to they stand them all up in a line and they're just nope, your calf's a crap. Nope, your calf's a crap. But you
measuring the calf, all right, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He got them.
He got those mailman calves.
He got them female soccer player calves.
Oh, man.
What was her name?
Nelly.
What's her name?
Mia Hamm.
Oh yeah, he got the Mia Hamm calves. All right, he got the prime roots.
And then anybody who doesn't go up to snuff, like, all right, you're doing like night deliveries or something,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like you just leave.
You're in the
packages on
warehouse.
porch. Yeah, you.
You got the guy like, oh man, you know what? I'm saving up my money to get these calf implants so I can work for UPS.
Yeah, that's how it is now in 2019. You got to put an implant in everything. It started with boobs and lips. Now it's calves and elbow sockets.
Yeah, you know what? I saw it on that Liberty commercial with the calf implants, man. You know what? 20/20 vision. I'm going for them calf implants. Oh man, nah. But either way, that dude, he is who he is. But other than that, you know, just hung out, and then was watching the Saturday Night Live special with my son the other night. And he's 16-year-old, so it's at that point where it's like there's certain jokes that are funny, and then there's other stuff that are funny only at home that you can't take to school because, like we said off the mic, I can't have my son going to school and then I get a call from the principal about him talking about his dick in the box. You know, or Christmas time for the Jews, or some shit like that. Like, I'm like, yo, baby,
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, it's like when kids try to learn their first word, you know, like you try to get them to say mama, dada all dang time, and then all of a sudden one person just says shit. Now it's mama, dada, nah, shit.
Oh, shit.
Damn, oh god.
And you know
Son
what,
of a.
And you know it was the dad who said the curse word because all of a sudden the kid's running around and then the mom hears shit and then immediately just looks right at the dad.
Yeah.
Like straight up just
Grill him.
blocks.
Yeah, baby, gaga. As soon as
Who
Dad
taught
come
you
home
that?
from work, Daddy's up.
Damn it.
It's like a reflex at that point. It just
Yeah.
see like he hears the keys hitting the counter and he's just like shit.
He's like, yo, he must have heard that when I was in the Dunkin' Donuts line. Somebody messed up somebody's order, and somebody said, "What's this shit?"
Right,
So
and then
it wasn't me. It was the guy in front of me.
He goes to a job interview. All right, what's one of your like career definements? Like, what has defined you as a person? You know, my first word was shit.
Well,
I don't know if anybody's saying that in their interview.
Or like, could you imagine like
That's their resume.
Could you imagine, like, this kid's holding his baby in line, right? But you got, like, one of them really, really, like, uptight people get offended by everything. So he's holding his baby in the line, and all of a sudden, the girl in front of him just hears, shit, from the baby. And then she just whips around, and she's just like, excuse you, you're not raising your child correctly. You
Tell her
need
shut
to,
the
like,
fuck up and pay for her
like-
shit.
Don't
Keep
tell me how to
fucking
raise my
moving.
fucking kid.
you know what I'm gonna raise my child to do? Not take shit from no jive ass lady, not minding no business.
You
Turn around and get your coffee.
Get your damn coupons out ready.
Just sit him down, look him right in the face, and say,
Here's the
listen,
thing.
son, if you see a woman named Karen, don't take shit from her.
You don't
First
get
rule
to-
of life.
You just tell them to shut the fuck up and keep it moving. But
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
speaking of keeping it moving, Detroit. I got the jersey on. I got the hat on.
Oh yeah, he's repping. He's repping that Detroit.
My city.
Ooh, boo boo.
We're not talking about football here, so just calm down.
just the city, just the
We're
city.
just talking
of Detroit.
about the great city of Detroit.
Well, we're dealing with New Englanders. So.
Yeah, well, you
New
know.
England. But Detroit
They went recreational
with
marijuana.
word.
Yes.
So you can get out
December
from the back
1st. So
alleys.
now you could just go into any spot that sells bud with your 21, your ID that says you're 21 plus. Mm-hmm. And
Your McLovin ID.
your McLovin ID.
We taking a trip to Detroit?
Yeah, really.
and purchase weed over the counter. Like, hey, let me get that super chronic right there, and they
Hey.
just give it to you, and you walk out.
No, you know what it is. What they'll do is they'll go, you get your license or your ID renewed, right? And then they'll just take like a little stamp and they'll stamp like a little pot plant on the back. So that way, you know, you're completely safe, you're completely legal to get marijuana.
No, you don't even need any of that. It's just legal. It's like
Yeah, no, you can
Vegas.
just get it.
It's you're 20. If you're over 21, you go in the spot, show your ID that says you're over 21, buy weed.
It's like buying alcohol.
It's
Like-
not. It's the rules are different in every state, but the rec states like Colorado and Nevada and Michigan, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You don't need a special license
Yeah,
unless you
yeah.
want to smoke the high powered shit. If you want to grow weed, you got to have a license. If you want to buy weed, you just go and
'cause
buy weed.
In Rhode Island, you have to get that the medical card.
The medical card, and you have
know.
to have all the plants right and everything. This is just like, yo,
I got anxiety from when I stubbed my toe.
everybody can grow everybody can grow their own like 12 plants or whatever like that. Like you just have to have everything in order, and now you don't need any of that shit. So shout out to Detroit.
Do they give you like a driver's license type test to
No.
get your weed license?
There is no weed license. You just show your regular ID.
But that's in Detroit, though. Let's not get confused. This is Detroit we're talking about.
We gotta do a marijuana summit.
Although, like, you
just have a whole side show just dedicated.
A bouquet of arrangements.
The Saturday morning special. The Saturday morning early rising 420 special. Let's do it.
Like a weed summit.
Okay.
Actually
talking about the benefits.
The benefits and well, maybe we'll make it part of Dad's summit. We'll have a marijuana panel.
Yeah, because mothers have their wine, fathers we have our weed. So that's the way I look at it.
Well, it depends on where you live, because some fathers don't have weed; they have Coors Light.
Yeah.
Or Bud Light.
Or Natty Ice.
Yeah, no, Coors Light is just literally alcoholic urine.
No, it's watered down beer. That's literally all it is.
No, Red Dog is by far the worst beer. Red Dog by far. Like that shit is garbage.
I don't know. I feel like all the non-alcoholic beers are the worst beers.
No, it's not even non-alcoholic. No, Red Dog is not alcoholic. It's just straight. It's the kind that you could get like the big Arizona type cans, 2 for $1. And
shit.
Yeah.
And you still won't get drunk.
If you pay $2 for $1 for a beer, something is wrong.
First,
with the beer.
you shouldn't drink that shit.
Exactly.
If your beer don't cost, if your deuce don't cost at least $2.50, like you should. Wait a minute.
Let me put it to you like this.
I drink private stock.
Private stock is
not private stock. Steel Reserve.
Steel Reserve. Yeah.
I'm a Steel Reserve drinker, and that shit is like $2.25
for a deuce.
For a deuce, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like 10 cents an ounce.
Hey, it's better than gas prices.
You can get 240s for $6.
Basically, let me put it to you like this. If your local liquor store is doing a 2-for-1 beer special on them big cans, they're trying to get rid of that beer. Like, that's like...
There's a reason it ain't off the shelves.
Yeah, something skunky about this beer, and it's fresh. It's like, yo, it just came out the vat. How is it 2 for $1? Like, that's how it's bad beer. Just stay away from that shit. Either way. Yeah.
So shout out to Detroit for being the next state to go wreck. Hopefully Rhode Island goes wreck soon, because Massachusetts is wrecked, and
Rhode Island does want to go wreck, but
they want to go wreck with too many fucking
bells and
too
whistles.
many bells and whistles. You can only buy from these spaces, and these spaces can only get bud from these spaces. So they're really trying to put like a stranglehold on it, and they don't want you to be able to grow your own bud. So
what it is that they're trying to put the street spin in the corporate world, like, yo, this is our block. You can't sell on our block. If you selling on our block, you're gonna get punished. We're gonna put you to prison. So you gotta come through us in order for business to happen.
It's real what they're doing.
Could you imagine like government officials sitting on a corner or something trying to sell weed? Like, say you go into Pawtucket to go see your boy or something, you come back, and then all of a sudden there's like a mayor or something just sitting on the corner. Hey man, you want some weed?
He starts handing out pamphlets like, "Hi, would you like to buy some weed? This is what my selection is today."
They already do that though in Kennedy Plaza.
Yeah, that's already happening down there. Campaigning for the votes.
Right.
Hey, so with that, Jay-Z turned 50.
All right,
Jigga Man. Mm-hmm. Young Hope, you heard?
Dang, getting old.
He's 50, so magically on his 50th birthday, which was on December 4th, all of his catalog, which had been like in a headlock at Tidal, got released to Spotify and Apple Music over the weekend. Magically, no announcements, no fanfare. He just opened that shit up. So now all the people that have been paying for Tidal for the last like however long to get the exclusive Jay-Z shit, now it's just everywhere now. Well, so I wonder if Tidal's going to go down there. People are going to still be paying whatever they're paying for Tidal every month.
No, but look,
I don't know what else they have. Like, I don't have a Tidal subscription, but
no, neither do I. But I already have like all basic, not all, but I had a lot of his CDs already. So it's like, I really need Tidal for that.
Who has a CD player though? I got all the Jay-Z songs too.
But you see, I could put them songs from my CD onto an MP3 file, and then.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I got the whole anthology, so I'm good.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting that now it's all available, so now everybody can have access to Jay-Z, and it started to get me to thinking about like my top 5 Jay-Z records.
All right. Okay.
And I posted it on my Instagram story, Cave World. Go check it out.
Is it Cave World TV?
Just Cave World.
Oh, just Cave World?
Cave World ENT.
No need for the TV.
All right.
Go check me out and whatnot. But what's your 5? You have 5. Your 5 top. Like, what would you consider his top 5 albums?
All right, so
he's got like 18 records or something like that.
So this is my stance on Jay-Z. Number 1, he's from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Number 2, he used to live a couple of houses away from my grandmother, and I seen him visit his aunt used to live a couple of houses away from my grandmother. And I used to see him come by every now and then. Number 3. Now, out of Brooklyn, there's 3 main big rappers in my eyes when it comes to that vein of rappers. There's Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
There's Biggie. And then there's Jay-Z. Like the Flashy Fly. And then there's Fabulous and all them other dudes. But Brooklyn is the Flashy Fly rappers.
I thought that was Harlem.
Harlem has more style, but Brooklyn was more of, with flashy, with fly, plus we'll probably punch in your mouth. Most likely we'll punch in your mouth. But then the thing with Jay-Z is that out of the 3 of Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, and Jay-Z, Jay-Z's the last on that list for me. So I'm a Jay-Z fan, but I'm not that big of a Jay-Z. I'm more of Jay-Z's songs than his whole albums. But Reasonable Doubt, for me, is the best one and the standout. I want to like 444. I like it. But other than that, like Blueprint is good. But the one that set the blueprint for me in that vein was LL Cool J, So, and then even KRS-One had the blueprint back in the day. But that aside, I'm more Jay-Z songs than albums. But Reasonable Doubt is my number 1.
Now, Reasonable Doubt is definitely it's his first album, right? So he was real hungry on that one.
I just like the beats and the production.
For me, is Volume 2.
Volume 2?
Volume 2, The Hard Knock Life. And then then Reasonable Doubt, then the Blueprint 2.1, which was like one of them sneaky little albums that came out right after the Blueprint, like 6 months or something like that. After the Blueprint, he dropped a pair of shoes.
You were still DJing at Bryan College back then, right? During that time?
Nah, when 2.1 came out?
Yeah. Because I remember the shoes came out around that time. And
I don't even remember. Probably. But 2.1 came out with the S. Dot Carters.
Yep.
So like not a lot of people was able to get access to it, but it was probably one of the dopest albums ever, low key. And then the Black Album, and then the original Black Blueprint. For me, those are like my top 5 Jay-Z albums. I put the question out there, you know what I'm saying? Like a few people, only like one person got back to me though. So shout out to Sunny_Waters on the Instagram. His top 5 is the Blueprint, then Reasonable Doubt, then 444, then the Black Album, then American Gangster, which was the soundtrack
to the
movie, which was also very good. Blue Magic.
Yeah, Blue Magic was nice. See, Volume 2 was really when he's now started to break
hit his stride. He hit his stride because Reasonable Doubt was dope, and then Volume 1 was like, but then he really hit his stride like mainstream with
Volume 2 is
2.
basically probably when he now bagged Beyonce. That was probably the album he bagged Beyonce.
So you're giving Beyonce credit for Jay-Z's
no.
meteoric rise?
I'm giving Volume 2 credit for him bagging Beyonce.
Word, I'll take that.
All right, so that's I could be wrong, but
speaking of Beyonce, I saw that she's about to go to Vegas.
She's
about to get a Vegas residency.
Oh, word?
And they're going to be paying her more than they paid anybody in the history of Vegas residencies.
Well, speaking of that, I see Earth, Wind & Fire is going to have a residency out there,
too. But there's only like one dude left from the original Earth, Wind & Fire. So like,
so it's just Earth?
It's just Earth.
Damn.
It's just Earth left. There's no...
How can you have Captain Planet with just Earth?
Yeah.
Like, you need Wind, Fire, and Heart.
I mean, the band
What
is
about
still...
water?
The band is still good. What I will say, the band is still good, but... It's not the same. Like, if I wanted to see Earth, Wind & Fire, I should have saw him 10 years ago, man.
Well, I guess you could say he was pretty grounded, huh?
Oh, boy.
He'll be here all week.
Yeah.
Always.
Wow.
See, that's usually...
That's what happens when you have wrestlers in the building. with their dry wrestling humor.
Well,
I'm kidding.
No,
not really though.
But no,
so we'll admit some of it's dry, some of it we just start throwing straight fire at each other. See, Earth, Wind, Fire.
I'll get you in the ring. You get inside these hands.
Look, he and I have known each other for over 10 years, so at this point, nothing is off limits.
Oh man! Oh, y'all only.
Hey, we might as well just jump right into this shit, man. We got RZW in the building.
Yeah, we got Zach, John.
What Zach, John, and Ryan in the back, and Shay over here. So first, let's start at the simple part. What does RZW stand for?
Okay, so it was kind of like a quickly thrown together thing. We originally had an idea. So we go to this wrestling in West Warwick, and the fans there are very passionate. So we wanted to create like a belt for the people outside while we wait to go in, just to do some fun stuff. And eventually we kind of got hit for some copyright on that. So basically, this guy Ryan, myself being Zach, we just decided, you know what, we're going to start our own thing. And we ended up just putting our two first initials together, put a W on the end of it, and RZW kind of sounded cool, so we like, all right, we still haven't figured out something else for it to stand for yet, so if we do, it'll definitely get promoted, but
So it's Ryan and Zach Wrestling.
Basically, yeah, but we don't refer to it there. We just it's
wrestling.
we thought about calling it like Rhino Zebra, some stuff. We've thrown some cupcakes at the wall. None of them sticked yet.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we got Zach in the building. He looks like he's holding the heavyweight championship belt.
The A+ of professional wrestling, Zachary Levi. The current reigning 3-time. Hey, whoa! We ain't in the arena today. We are in this very nice studio. We are with these very intelligent gentlemen who are actually gracious enough to bring me to their show. But yeah, no.
What were you thinking, Tyler?
I got a phone call.
But yeah, no. But yeah, so I have the heavyweight title. This is currently my third reign with the title. Unfortunately, there were some unfortunate circumstances with our last champion. He wasn't able to make some defenses. He
got arrested.
That would make for a way better story.
Wait, he didn't die, right?
No, thankfully
okay.
He's still on the show. It was just he couldn't make his scheduled defenses, so he ended up relinquishing the title. So last week we had like a 4-way ladder match. It's some crazy stuff. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, RZW Wrestling on YouTube. That should be like the second to last video we posted, I want to say. No, it was just a bunch of pandemonium. You know, we're swinging shit at each other, falling off ladders. No, it was a lot. It was crazy, and eventually I was able to get to the top, pull it down, and once again reign over my campus as the A+, the heavyweight champ.
Nice. How your mother said, like when you were a kid, like don't go falling off of stuff or go breaking your leg or anything. That's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, literally, we said screw that.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? It's fun, and nobody's been seriously injured yet. Knock on wood. So,
yeah, what has this been? 5 months?
So now we have John. Let's get the proper introduction. John, tell us who you are.
So
he's also got a belt. I don't know what it says. What is that?
So this is the Next Gen Championship. So this is basically like our mid-card title belt. Now I've held on to this thing since what? Late September, early October?
Like since you're the first and still current champion, actually.
So I've been going on a tear with this thing.
Excellent. Was that like the Intercontinental Champion?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But yeah, I go by the character of the Master, which is basically... So the idea for the Master character was because I'm handicapped from the waist down, basically. I have cerebral palsy and all this other stuff. But basically what it was because I've noticed, like, when you see a bunch of, like, public figures and everything talking about disabled people, they put them up on a pedestal. They make them look good. But on the other hand, there's also that stuff that people don't really like to talk about with disabilities, So I decided to take that and kind of spin it so that way it makes it seem like, oh, you don't really care about us. You only do it just for either a paycheck or for the glory of it.
Now, see, this is the thing. I'm relatively new to RZW, and when Daryl had told me about RZW, he was telling me about how basically you guys, and like he was saying how you have your condition. So basically, with your wrestling, you also incorporate other people with certain disabilities.
Yes. So basically, as I was telling you guys the backstory to it, the main part of it as well, which is the reason why Ryan and I decided to do it. It wasn't just that copyright strike. What ended up happening was there were a lot of people who were doing it with us who ended up having special needs. We have somebody who has a learning disability. We have somebody with Tourette's. Somebody with an anger issue. We have with a bunch of different disabilities. And the people who would go to these shows, these people were getting bullied by the other people who weren't really hanging with us, like doing the stuff with that belt. And they were getting a lot of hate online. They were getting a lot of hate in person. We went to the shows. And also when it comes to wrestling, to be able to get trained and to be able to be in the business, it takes a lot. And a lot of trainers and a lot of schools aren't willing to give you that proper, that one-on-one special attention that person might need to be able to pick up these concepts. So Ryan and I decided that we would come up with a safe place, a safe haven for these people to come and to be able to potentially pursue a dream, to be able to portray a character, to be able to be a part of something they never thought they'd be able to be a part of. Yeah. And that's honestly like the coolest thing for me. Like honestly, when we promote the show and everything, we get so much support from people saying, you know, like what you guys are doing is an amazing thing. We actually have like actual independent wrestlers who message Ryan, message myself, telling us, you know, what you're doing is amazing. Please keep doing it. You know, you're really doing something special, even though you guys aren't like the biggest production or like the coolest thing in wrestling. You got what you're doing is special and it's unique, and that's where I take the pride in it. And when this guy right here, it's funny how he got into it.
John.
Yeah, John right here. So he wants to go into wrestling, and it's really cool. You know, he wants to try and like break through and be that kind of catalyst of change for people like him. And when he found out what me and Ryan were doing, he literally hit me up. Like, I didn't even ask him to do it. He's like, dude, can I just be part of this RZW thing? Like I really, like, I've got ideas. Like, I've got a lot of ideas. And I'm like, dude, let's do it, man. And he's been probably one of the most intriguing, most interesting things we actually have, despite his disability, despite his lack of mobility. Like, he puts on some of the best performances we have on the entire show.
Plus, not to mention, like, I've been getting praise upon praise upon praise for my promo work, because I figure if I can't really do it in the ring physically, I can grab people by what I say on the mic.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I have. Like, as a wrestling fan myself, one of my favorite memories of wrestling is the Mic Men.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Ravishing Rick Rude and Jake the Snake and even The Rock.
Even the Stone Colds, you know.
Macho Man. Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, you know, so like, who are some of
Roddy
your favorite...
Piper, you know.
Roddy Piper. Who's some of your favorite mic men?
For me personally, if we're going like modern day, it's definitely, and somebody who actually got me into doing wrestling in general was I don't know if you know him, but CM Punk.
CM Punk. Yeah.
He was a big influence of mine. You know, I was watching wrestling for a few years, and then he went on a tear in 2011, and he basically just said what he wanted to do. He was like a next iteration of a Stone Cold, only like modern day and just rebel.
Yeah.
And like it got me into the storylines, and it got me into all that. And I really attribute to him my passion for wrestling, and not to mention like just the way his words were just always something that you had to like. As soon as he grabbed a mic, you wanted to hear what he had to say, and that's kind of where, especially with like my promo work, like that's my goal. Anytime you see me, if I'm not wrestling and I'm talking, I want them listening, because they know what I'm about to say is important, and I think I've gotten that point across.
As far as myself, my personal, like, my idol, like Zach says, his was CM Punk. Mine is Bray Wyatt, one of the newer.
That guy.
So the thing was, back when he debuted in, like, what was it, 2014, something like that?
He debuted in like 2012, like, because he did the whole stuff with Kane.
Oh yeah, you're right, like 2012 or something.
Yep.
But yeah. But I was instantly, like, hooked with the character. Like, it was something completely different. Like, you look at a lot of guys now that come from, like, Japan or, like, a lot of, like, Ring of Honor or whatever, and they're all strikes. They're all, like, they can put on great matches. But Bray Wyatt was more character-based, and that's what grabbed me. I was a lot more focused on what he was going to do. And now with his most recent iteration of The Fiend, like, it's a Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing. And I really, really dig that, because that's something different, you know? Like, obviously, we've had the same wrestler play different characters, like with Mankind and Cactus Jack and everything. But...
Brother Love.
Yeah, Brother Love.
Yeah.
But, no, but, like, this was such a radical shift. It was so different. Like, on one hand, you'd have this guy, he's like Mr. Rogers, where he hosts a kid's show. But then on the other side, you got this guy with, like, this demonic face, and the way he would, like, wrestle in the ring. It was almost like he was just trying to beat you down. It wasn't even a match. It was just like a fight. And I give credit to him for actually wanting to get into wrestling more, because his promo style was so unique. His in-ring work was so unique. And he didn't really fit the build of, like if you look at a lot of modern wrestlers, they're all, like, they got, like, abs and...
You know, the Randy Ortons who've got to make sure they're covered in baby oil, and the Roman Reigns who's got the...
got them super wet hair.
But the LL Cool J's of wrestling.
Basically, yeah.
Hey, but a lot of those guys are legacy guys, though. Like Roman Reigns is not Roman Reigns. Randy Orton's a legacy guy.
Yeah, so is Bray.
Generation superstar, isn't he?
Yeah,
Third,
Third generation guy.
But so is Bray Wyatt. Like, his dad was IRS, so...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah, like, how do you figure that. You go from a tax man to a dude in a bayou, and then eventually he evolves into like a dude with a Mr. Rogers and a demon complex.
Well,
you know,
see, some characters they do have that weird development, like Papa Shango end up becoming D-Train with the
Godfather, baby.
The Godfather. So there's
there's a lot of those where it's like you literally see them like make this like total 180 transformations. Like there are those ones that are like very subtle and they just grow over time. But then there are the ones that's like 1 minute you're this, and then the next minute like boom, now I'm just a douchebag.
Yeah, because I was.
Well, they just changed. They changed, and they're still douchebags when they come in, but they changed to like worse douchebags.
Oh yeah,
like Triple H.
Nah, the worst one was the dude from the Steiner Brothers from Mississippi.
Scott. Big Papa Pump.
Big Papa Pump.
Oh man, you got a 127.97% chance of winning.
He was quiet.
He was one of my favorite wrestlers. Yo.
Yeah,
the Steiner Brothers back in the day was my dudes.
Oh, man.
Between the Steiner Brothers and the Legion of Doom, those were my.
You know what? They don't get talked about enough. Legion of Doom, honestly. They get the freaking noticeability from the shoulder pads, but man, their legacy, like they don't get enough attention, man.
I hear people giving Demolition more love than Legion of Doom. Demolition.
Get out of here,
dude.
Demolition. I'm like, really? Come on, man. Come on. Nah.
Well, I mean, Demolition was my shit, though.
Demolition held the belts forever.
But Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors, depending on where you came up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those dudes are legends.
Oh yeah.
Those dudes are legends.
What a rush.
came riding in on the motorbikes and shit. Like,
oh man.
Some of that mic between them and the Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man, those are some of my favorite mic men. And like, when you get to the ring, my favorite was Ravishing Rick Rude, and this is for all
the ladies.
Oh yeah.
Just shut your mouth. Because this is not for you. This is for the ladies. Hit the music.
He's got like the 80s porn mustache and the sprayed pants.
Everybody had their Ravishing Rick Rude moves.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Like,
he had the straight burlesque music.
Yeah, right?
Oh, man.
Jake the Snake is my favorite wrestler of all time. He had the most devastating move in all of wrestling.
Oh, the DDT?
The DDT. I DDT the kid for real. Shout out to Andrew Good. I DDT'd him in the 8th grade.
Right.
And he stayed my friend.
Yeah, I dropped the dude on his head, but he's still my best friend, man.
He stayed cool.
Sounds like us, huh?
Basically, yeah.
He stayed cool with me. You know what I'm saying?
Because he didn't want to get DDT'd again. He didn't want to be on the other side of the fence. He's like, yo.
As I tell these stories, I realize, like, I think I kind of really was a bully growing up.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
we've been telling
cool.
stories over the course of the last year about all the times that we done fucked around and bullied some motherfuckers on accident or like just because. And it's
we
like
helped straighten out their life.
That's right. You're welcome.
Yes, you're
motherfuckers.
welcome. And we didn't do it out of mean spirit because we didn't want you to be wusses, going to school with us.
Toughen your skin, man.
Yeah,
So it's called tough love.
Yes, that's what
Exactly.
You call
Tough
it
love.
bullying. I call it hard friendship.
Yes. Because only friends say something to friends.
So talk to me about like the dynamic of wrestling in Rhode Island. Like there's a couple of different factions, right? You guys.
So we don't really identify ourselves in that because here's the thing, we don't really have that much of a production, unfortunately. And we're eventually going to start getting an actual ring come the springtime, just with the weather conditions and all that. But just wrestling in general in New England is probably like the hottest scene in probably the entire country, probably anywhere. Like you've got from the entire East Coast is some of the best talent and some of the best schools. Like New England has probably, if you watch TV, New England has pumped out some of the top wrestlers that you see on TV now. And I give credit to the XWA training facility, the XWA Kingdom Academy, for getting me my start. The trainers there, Matt Taven, he's a Ring of Honor superstar, former Ring of Honor world champion, along with Vinny Marseglia, TK O'Ryan. There's some of the really top guys. Mike Kanellis, formerly known as Mike Bennett, he's on the WWE. Tommaso Ciampa, NXT, he's come from Boston. Eddie Edwards and Impact. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, of the guys from New England, even Sasha Banks, right from Boston, Massachusetts.
John Cena, West Newbury.
Cena, even if you want to go that far back, the New England scene in general, and if you go to all the different independent promotions, I'm talking XWA, RWA, Chaotic, Northeast Wrestling, like Limitless, Beyond, Wrestling Has It Tomorrow. There's so much wrestling and such a great crop of people just like honing their crafts here in New England.
And you rattled off like 10 names. I didn't even heard half of them.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing though. There's so much of it here. There's so much to be able to indulge yourself in and to be able to really like expose yourself with the business.
How's the interaction though with like
the wrestlers to the fans?
Like the wrestlers to the different, like, is there like a lot of like animosity? Is it
There's
like,
really not
is
a lot
it like
of
hip hop music where nobody
really likes each other? A lot of with
like,
the New England independent scene, a lot of it's not so much that the companies will work together, but a lot of the talent will go to different places. That's the great thing about being an independent wrestler. You can go wherever whoever wants to book you, they can take you in. It's not like being on TV where you're exclusive to a contract to a specific company. So like for example, this guy JT Dunn, probably one of the top wrestlers in New England in my opinion. He was actually probably the guy that got me into independent wrestling. So this guy wrestles just about anywhere in the freaking Northeast. Like this guy will wrestle for all those promotions that I just listed off, and he's won belts in many of them, like championships left, right, and over. And he's able to build his repertoire. He's able to build his brand right here in New England to eventually be able to branch out and become like a world-renowned superstar like you see on TV. Like right here, you crop yourself, like you build your brand, you build your fan base, and then ultimately you get noticed. And like it's a quick process. I mean, it takes a lot of work, but it can happen in a snap of a finger if you put in the work.
Yeah, because I know that, at my job at FET Music Hall, they had some wrestling there.
The Wrestling Has It Tomorrow. Yeah.
I was there for a quick second because I forgot something there, and I just had to hurry up and get my phone and go about my business. But I wanted to stay or at least bring my son. But wrestling is everywhere because also there was a spot in Olneyville, not where FET is. It was like over by the bank. My boy had a studio.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm hanging out with him at the studio, and you have to go across the hall to go to the bathroom. So I'm coming out the bathroom. I hear all this noise. I asked the lady, I'm like, what's going on in there? She was like, oh, you could go in. So I went and I got my boy. We went in. There's a motherfucking wrestling ring right there. I'm like, oh, shit.
Right, yeah, no, and that's like, even like, I live in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and I live on the Hamlet Ave area, right where the middle schools are. Right down the street on Main Street is a school and a place where they hold wrestling shows, and the showcase, and basically, but that's like why it's so cool doing what we're doing, because we're in an area like Rhode Island, in the New England area, that's so prominent with wrestling, and just people want to be exposed with wrestling, and people like just are passionate about it. And because of what we're doing, something totally different, something totally unique out of the blue, we're not on the level of all these independents. Yeah, we're not like bringing in these top indie guys, but but we have our own crop of people that make our show more unique, just a whole different entity than any other wrestling that you can ever find. Because again, like we're giving people who never thought they had that chance, never thought that they could really amount to anything, because that's what they've been told their entire lives. Like they're literally just, they sit on the sidelines. You're like, they see people passing them by. Like one of our wrestlers, Laura, she
Reese McGuire, that's her ring name.
Yep, Reese McGuire. She was actually training out of school. She was training out of school trying to learn how to wrestle. And she couldn't figure out rolling. It's a technique, basically, you drop your forearm and you roll over. It's kind of like an evasion technique. And she couldn't really get the rolling down. Like it was a difficulty curve for her. And basically the trainer looked at her because she couldn't roll and was like, you'll never make it in this business. You'll never be able to be a wrestler. You can't do this, because she couldn't roll. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I friggin' saw her outside of a show, and I'm like, listen, why don't you come and do stuff with us? Like, and again, like, because I've been trained how to work safely, I run practice sessions with the guys. It's not so much like I'm teaching them to be the best wrestler, because I'm not even at that greatness. But at the end of the day, being able to teach these people how to work safely and give them, that sense of like, hey, I can do this. I can be something more than these people tell me I can be. And that's like the coolest feeling for me.
Yeah, it was like I mentioned earlier, that's the whole crux of my character. That is the whole driving force, you know? Like, a lot of people, because, like, I've even told him, and like I've said, we've been friends for over 10 years. I told him, you have no idea what it's like to wake up with my disability every morning. You don't know what it's like. And, like he's humble about it, and he understands, like, he'll never understand it. But the thing is, that's why I do what I do. That's why I cut the promos I cut, because a lot of people don't see people with disabilities as viable wrestlers. Like, that's why a lot of people say, like, oh, you're a heel. Like, I get booed tremendously. If you like, look at the videos, like, I get booed tremendously.
They can't stand this guy just as much. I think they hate me more, though. I really think they hate me more than you.
I don't know. That's about 50-50 there, but
I like the villain, though.
Yeah,
I like the dude.
Dude, if you like a villain, you better start watching the A+, because this guy right here that you're talking to is probably one of the biggest assholes. All right, I'm going to tell you something. I was on camera, right? I'm wrestling a guy, and his name is Bobby. He has Tourette's. And I ended up having to wrestle his girlfriend. It was part of one of our storylines that if she beat me, that he would get a title shot. And literally, I'm sitting in the middle of the ring cutting a promo, and I'm like, yo, get his bimbo of a girlfriend out here. Like, let's get this over with so I can embarrass this broad. Like, I'm like literally berating this woman just because her man wants. I have no issues with her. He's got the issues, and oh my god, I'm so terrible.
You gotta fight for him, man.
Yeah, send the woman to do your fighting.
Yeah.
This is like only the kind of shit you can only get away with in wrestling, though. Could you imagine, like, somebody trying to do that to a woman nowadays, like up on the street?
Yo, what's up, bimbo? Get over here.
Yo, I'm gonna fight your girl before I fight you.
Yeah. No, you get pimp smacked by, like...
But you gotta be careful who the girl is, though.
We obviously
some of these chicks are a little bit...
Well, that's why we run everything we do by people, but it was just the fact that I say that. You know what I mean? Like that, because that's just the type. That's what I do.
It's wrestling.
Exactly, and
wrestling is over the top.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And again, kind of what he was saying. Like this is shiz you can only find doing stuff like this. And again, like doing what we're doing. You know, like you can't go on any other kind of show, especially on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube is like some sensitive friggin' land over there.
Oh my god!
You two definitely know about it, but like you can't do that on like any kind of other platform or anything. But if you're a wrestler, oh my gosh, you can kind of have that liberty, and it
comes with the turf. It's like soap operas. You only expect certain things with a soap opera.
You know what? You know what wrestling's like, and because it is because like in IRL, I work in the restaurant industry. I work at a Denny's in freaking North Smithfield, right? I used to work at Applebee's, but wrestling is literally like working in a restaurant kitchen. All right, because here's what happens. If you can't handle somebody smacking your ass, fucking telling you like the dirtiest shit that you've ever heard in your life, like you don't belong there. If you come into a wrestling environment and you cannot handle guys literally shitting on your entire life, just like literally ragging on you, and whether it's storyline or not, whether you're in the locker room or anything, if you can't handle guys just being a bunch of smartasses, you don't belong. You really don't belong.
Put it this way, everyone comes down the ramp, the entranceway, they call me fat ass.
Oh my god! Oh yeah! Everything. Oh yeah, dude! Like you are like literally the vein of our entire existence. You are literally like our prime target, and that's part of because he has the loudest mouth out of everybody.
It's true.
Dude, I'll be in the middle of the dang ring, and he'll be like, "Frig," just say something hecklish, right? And I just gotta shut him down real dang quick while I'm kicking the crap out of somebody. That's what I do. You don't just step onto my campus and try to talk crap.
Yeah, I was on the side and I was talking shit, and this guy tried to call me into the ring. But I was like, "Yo, you got some funny pants on, B." But then when you looked at it, he had funny on the leg of his pants. I'm like, "Yo, you got funny pants on. Why you getting mad at me, calling me to the ring? You put it on."
Right, and that's what's cool. And to kind of play off of something I was teasing earlier with the whole wrestler to fan interaction, and kind of like with me personally, since I've started RZW, the fans and wrestlers in New England, it's like one of the coolest things you'll ever see. The wrestlers never hold themselves to a higher standard than the guys paying the tickets sitting on that other side of the guy. Like even at the XWA, like you see during the intermission, the wrestlers will come out and interact with the fans, whether it's in character or not. And like for me personally, like with doing the YouTube, obviously we promote ourselves with like Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff. And like there are so many people who like will come up to me and recognize me from my character. And like you know what I mean? Like, I don't hold myself any higher than them, you know? I mean, I'm a guy doing a YouTube show. I am nothing special. But when somebody comes up to me and is like, yo, A+, I hate your damn guts, I'm like, thank you. That means I'm doing my job right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're up against it, so we're going to hit you with the final question. Of course,
Alrighty.
we got to figure out what's your great finishing move.
Oh, all right. So my finishing move, and I credit it to when I was training originally at that school. I really didn't have a finish at the time, but the guy I was wrestling, doing some practice matches with, was like, "You're right. You're just gonna slip off my shoulders and do a stunner." And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to kick you in the gut, drop you with a stunner. And when I started doing this, I kind of just carried it over. So I'm basically doing a modified Stone Cold Stunner nowadays.
Oh, shit. Shout out to Stone Cold.
Yeah,
Yep.
funny
Stunning
story
Steve
about that.
Austin.
If we can actually have a little bit of sidetrack. Funny story about that. So he's talking to me one day, and he's like, dude, I think I really want to use this stunner move as my finisher, but I don't know what to call it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's sitting there trying to rack his brain, so he texts me like, dude, what should I call this? So I think about it. So I'm like, you're the A+ of professional wrestling. You're a professor. Why don't you call it the failing grade?
And I'm like, boom, they're failures. I literally sit there and call people failures. I'm like, it's perfect. I'll drop an F on them or something. It'll be hilarious. But yeah, no. But yeah, and
like that. I like
and also
that.
with the stunner, it's also the easiest move I can hit with the kind of condition we have with the setup that we do have. So, you know, I can easily turn somebody around, kick them in the gut, and drop them, and they're done for the count, man. I've put away plenty of people taking care of this title, you know, keeping it on my shoulder.
What's your finisher?
Hey,
The miss has spoken.
I got the
The
big
CEO
belt.
has spoken.
Hey, I've got the big belt. I speak when I want.
But no, so my finisher is what I call the Master's Will, because Masters is actually my last name. So a lot of people are like, dude, you can actually use that as a wrestling name. I'm like, that's kind of the plan. But so it literally what it is I wrap my arms around the guy, right? So I wrap my arms around the guy. I wait till they pass out, and then I do like a fake neck snap, you know? So like I'll take the head and I'll like twist it, you know? So they just fall to the ground. So then what I'll do is I'll take both of my knees, I'll just stand there and I'll do like a spread arm kind of pose, you know, just to be like a jackass about it. Like
This dude literally goes around and just killing people. This dude just going, snapping necks.
I was gonna say that sounds problematic.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look, the cops haven't been called yet, so you know
And
what?
we've had at least one wrestler suffer to it and has not made an appearance on the show since. So yeah, he's pretty lethal.
To get
Nice.
the Christmas card.
What's your favorite finishing move?
My favorite finish move? Ooh,
bottom.
cripple a crossface.
The leg drop.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And you know what's funny? We actually have a guy doing that as their finish right now. We have
yeah?
actually the former champion before me, Ravishing Ray, was currently applying the crossface
Does he do
submission
a hip
hold.
gyration?
Unfortunately, no. He's got more of the ravishing where it's like I'm kind of like just this cool ass mofudger. Like I'm my shiz don't stink. Like I've got like that swag to him. Like he's that kind of ravish.
He's full of himself, basically.
Exactly, but he's super valiant. That's the funny thing about it. Like he calls himself ravishing, but yet he's the guy fighting on the fat dude's behalf.
Yeah, really.
Nice.
What's your favorite?
Oh man, I already said it's the DDT.
Oh,
Like,
DDT.
Oh heck yeah!
That's it?
And you know what? And even the DDT, like nowadays, now people like modifying it with like the double underhooks.
I'm old school, man. I'm hitting you with the original
But
shit.
you show me a freaking Mankind DDT. That's where I'm going.
So,
Nah,
but-
I'm hitting the original Jake the Snake Boy.
Are you putting the arm up
Oh
too?
yeah, just
yeah, but if we're talking like favorite finishers,
nostalgia. That's what I call it. The nostalgia.
The nostalgia factor, yeah.
but if we're talking like favorite finishers outside of our own, oh, that's a little tricky. There's so many good ones. That's the problem. There's so
I
many
know.
good ones.
If you
Half Nelson.
give me an old fashioned,
Wait, you know what? No, you know what it is? It's the F5, except it's the one where Brock would literally pick him up, turn, and literally make the guy fly.
just huck him.
The helicopter. Just
Oh yeah.
and just dead. Like,
Alright.
I always thought, like, dude, nobody could get up from that. Could you imagine, like, a dude, like, 300 pounds or something picks you up and just spins you for a couple
Oh
seconds?
yeah, just throws you halfway across the ring. Like
no, I can't think about that. What's your favorite?
in general,
What's the one you look forward to when you see when you're watching wrestling?
Like old
just
school.
oh man,
new
if
school.
we're going old school,
New school. What's your?
if we're going old school, it's got to be an old fashioned Shawn Michaels sweet chin music, you know,
Oh,
because
man.
he's got the setup. the friggin' like the whole thing. He gets everybody going, and as soon as you hit that kick, like it's gone, done deal. But now, like a lot of the times, like I love those top rope moves. Like that kind of shit.
Moves?
Oh yeah, man! I wish I could do them. Honestly, God, I wish I could do that kind of crap.
Did you need the Superfly snooker type stuff?
Oh yeah,
Super fly.
I love him in the background, Superfly.
But hey, we're up against it. We appreciate y'all coming on the show today.
Yeah, no
RZW
problem.
Wrestling. Tell us where we can find you on the YouTube. This is RZW.
Yeah, right now you can find us on YouTube.com at RZW Wrestling. You know, you'd see a nice bright red logo with 3 letters right there. You'll find us there.
Just past 100 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, and I also want to take a second and thank these two guys for at least bringing us on.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. This has been an awesome experience. We really do appreciate this. You know, like this is our first real opportunity to really tell people what we're doing and really get that word out there on a bigger stage than just sharing our stuff. You know.
That's what's up, man. Hey, shit, it's gonna do it for us too. We are out this bitch. And then the Saturday conversation in the books. We'll have some shit on the table. We'll catch up with it next week. Next week is our sex show part 2.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Amanda Lambros coming back on the show via the Skype. She's in.
What the best jellies?
Hey, yeah, whatever. Get your questions ready for Amanda Lambros coming on the show next week. For our
you gotta get that preserves.
Our annual. I was trying to think of what the word is. I was just like R. Sound like a fucking pirate over here.
Smuckers or Welch?
It's what's coming in.
Why don't we have a pirate gimmick? We need to get a pirate character. Oh, come on,
Ryan, I got a job. You're going to be the cannonball.
The wrestling guys.
The wrestling guys. What's going on?
Oh, you were talking about pirates and where
Yeah, I was talking like a pirate. But we have our annual, what's becoming our annual sex show next week. So make sure y'all get ready for that. If you got questions to ask Amanda, send them to us on the DMs. Let us know what you want us to ask her. We'll ask her whatever questions you send to us.
Yes.
She's a relationship/sex ologist counselor.
Does size matter?
And she's statewide.
in your case, yes.
I don't know. We asked her that question last time, so we'll write it down when we'll ask that one. So make sure you check that out. Go back and listen to the original one. It was really cool. And she's stateside again for the holidays, so we're going to have her come through. Phone in.
She's in Australia.
Well, she's in Michigan. She's going to be in Michigan, yeah. For the moment. She's
a huge jump.
It's the holiday travel season for her, so, it's much easier time-wise because she's in the same time zone as opposed to us calling her now in Australia, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and shit.
Sunday.
So, get with us on the social platforms.
Yes, it is.
Saturday Conversation, we out.